Well, good morning. I want to be mindful of everybody's time. We'll have a few more start popping in when you're dealing with every time zone in the country. It's always tough to find the perfect time for everybody to hop on. On these roundtables, if you're new to them, this is our third one. I know it's getting close to the holidays. Uh, it's kind of a wide open forum. So feel free to ask any questions you have. This group is designed to help you, whether you want to use it as a mentoring or whether you want to use it because you're in the middle of a problem and you need help. This time of year was always when I was running my company, the time that I would be in full 2024 budget mode. What I've got to work on for next year, what I've got to plan on, where my staff is. Do I need to hire? I'm looking at my fees. I'm doing my competitive analysis. But it was always on the commercial side. I was still hot and heavy. I called them up last week to see how their operations were going, and they were still pretty hot and heavy with business. So I guess if you're in the middle of transitioning between commercial or residential and commercial, you're probably feeling the pinch on the residential side, and on commercial, we're they're still doing inspections pretty regularly. In fact, like I say, my previous company was fully deployed and fully in action. So I guess that's good news, at least in the large market area. But I want to open it up with kind of a question. If anybody's looking for training next year, and you've seen our list, we're in Fort Lauderdale, Phoenix, Bloomsburg, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Boulder. If anybody's looking for training that's not one of those locations, please send a note. Send a note to, and I'll put the email on there. Fast reply at ccpia.org. That goes to Maggie and Nick both. And with any suggestions, I know there was some we just added Bloomsburg as a 3-day introduction course location for next year. But I know there was some conversation of possibly doing a California or a West Coast again in someplace else. So feel free to send us a note if you're looking for more training. With that, I'll open it up to any questions or comments or anything anybody would like to ask. And if you don't know where the raise your hand is, it's down in the reactions tab, or you can just scream or holler or wave your hands. The first question is always the toughest.
Well, like when we were chatting just before, my name's Wade. I'm in Grand Junction area here in Western Colorado. For those of you, I only know Rob, I guess. I'm just trying to get my commercial inspection stuff going. So it's all new to me. I'm trying to figure out who to get in front of, what realtors to get in front of, or just, who to even talk to kind of get in there to do it. Plus, I'm a little nervous about doing it because it's not something that, I've done. So I don't want to say things that don't count or aren't good or get me in trouble or lose me the job. So it's been a little bit scary, I guess. As we were talking earlier, I want to learn more about the independent reserve study and kind of see if I can get into property management and stuff that way, because this is a vacation ski resort area, and there are lots and lots of condo associations. I presume that hotels and stuff have their own good ready reserves, but that's what I'm hoping to maybe hook up with some people or help get some training for that sort of stuff, what I shouldn't be doing for sure. That's it.
Uh,
That's it.
Thank you so much, Wade. On our website, we don't have a lot of stuff on reserve study, but we do have a couple of articles written that are available. So if you just go to the tab for members, it's everything's completely free. So just go to the tab and put in reserve study. There's a couple articles there that would help you. And beyond that, if we get enough people that are very interested, then I'll start searching around and see if we can get an expert in to give us a class on that. And that could be something that would be great for everybody. Raul, you have your hand up. And you're muted.
I can't hear him.
No, nobody can.
Rookie mistake. Okay.
Now you're there.
ADA compliance and inspection and commercial inspections. Is there a specific class for that?
There is, Raul. Great question. Nick, one of the very first courses ever written for CCPIA, Nick wrote, and it's called Accessibility Inspections. And it's located in our courses, and it's a couple hour online, and it also includes some sample templates and all of the information you need to perform one. It's a pretty straightforward event, so you should take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And the best part is you can do it at home and it's free.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, I didn't see where the digital hand is at, so I just figured I'd raise it. So
I got it.
yeah. So just kind of a general question. We literally booked like a $3,500 job a couple of days ago. Guy calls us up last minute and says, "Are you guys CCPIA certified?" And I was like, "What the hell is that?" So the answer was no. Nevertheless, we wound up losing the job. So that's why I'm here. And it was just coincidence that I happened to see this on Facebook. So I was like, oh, it couldn't have been any more perfect timing. So I just kind of had a general question for everybody who's online here. Do you guys find that you guys get more work? Because we've done a lot of commercial inspections without this, but have you guys who are certified, because I don't know who's certified and who's not, because I'm here and I'm not, but for you guys who are certified, has it helped your game any, or, or has it made a difference, or no?
Oh. Yeah, Bob's got his thumb up. I can tell you, me personally, I booked a lot of inspections when I owned my company. I've only been here for 20 months.
Okay.
And I probably booked close to $50,000 worth of work in a couple 4 years, just strictly because of my membership. But there's a lot of gestures coming across the chat room.
Yeah.
Within commercial, and I'll get to you here in a second, Bob. I got you. There's no licensure credentialing on these, Michael, and so it's pretty much the wide open west. And I'll be honest and straightforward. We've spent a lot of effort as an association building the reputation for just that event that unfortunately happened to you. For a very small membership fee, you get all the training you ever want, and then you get the credentialing. For those that are on this call, I think there's, if I'm doing my math right, at least 20 of us right now. You'll be the first to hear this. Sometime in the first quarter next year, we're going to have an exam similar to InterNACHI's CPI exam, completed, ready to take our let's say certification from here and move it to here.
Yeah, the next level.
Which is going to be good. Bob, please.
Great question, Michael. I mean, I asked that question probably 2 years ago, and there weren't many people to answer it except Nick. The best thing you do, Michael, outside of diving in and taking the courses and keeping an eye out because there's new courses added all the time, is be very proactive in telling people you're part of CCPIA. That's got to be the key. You don't wait for them to ask, you tell them. So when we're putting out proposals, one of the first things we do as far as credentials is we put CCPIA out there, because there's really no, there's no, let's say, national organization of commercial commercial inspectors outside of CCPIA. So part of what you're doing in your proposals is you're educating people, and you're basically telling them that CCPIA is the best, and they don't have a reason to doubt that. So that's probably first and foremost what we do when we do our proposals is we tell them we're part of this association. And if they haven't found us through it, which they are finding us through the website as well, it kind of piques them, and it not only gets you that job, it builds loyalty between you and that client or the networking that you can do.
Okay,
Thanks,
yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, good feedback. Thanks.
Ryan, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir. Quick question just on best practices. So I've had a residential home inspection company for a number of years. We've done a few commercial jobs along the way, always been for, agents that already trust us from the residential side, stumbling upon a commercial client. We've learned a lot along the way about what we should have done, what we're qualified to do, and what we're not. So really dove into CCPIA. Met you, Rob, at Atlantic City. And one of the things I took away from your classes, from Lance's classes, were if you have a brand on the residential side that really screams like home, right? We have home in our company name. It may be worth exploring, an alternative branding that is more commercial focused. So we went ahead and did that. And just based on that alone, we've booked 3 commercial jobs in the last month, which we never would have gone. So that aside, we've learned our lesson there. The last 2 jobs that we booked had a really unique experience that we never had before. And I'm just kind of curious if this is normal. So both referrals came from agents on the residential side who aren't involved in the commercial deal, but they knew the buyer in some capacity. So the buyer had reached out and said, "Do you know any good inspectors?" They said, "Yep, Ryan, he actually just opened a commercial division. Go use them." We booked with both of those clients and then heard back the day after from the client, "Hey, hold on a second. My commercial agent already had set up the commercial inspection. I didn't ask them to. They just did it. I need to cancel that so that I can book with you." Is that normal that commercial clients tend to get their inspections set up on their behalf by their agents? Or was this just a really fluke 2 in a row case?
It's normal. And that's where the community, and sometimes there's a communication breakdown. So historically, the commercial broker, commercial agent is driving the entire bus. And they're the ones that they're either doing an inspection through an engineering firm, through a commercial inspector like us, or they're actually just bringing in a group of 2 or 3 or 4 contractors to whatever answers the question. And so it really behooves the buyer to be more conscious and more involved. And I built my entire business, and those who know me and have heard me talk, on the buyer side and not going with the brokers. But then, because that was the lowest hanging fruit, you found that out with you just changing your brand. And so building it through the buyer's side helped me gain the confidence from the broker side that they started referring me. But yeah, it's not unusual. And the whole key is you're able to provide a more rounded product than anybody else is going to provide on the engineering side or on the contractor side, because you understand systems. You understand that each system ties into each other better than anybody else that could walk into that building. So I think we're far more qualified to inspect an entire building than any other subset that's out there.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, but I think it's great. Make sure you go back and look at your new company brand, and make sure your Google My Business and all your online listings talk about commercial, and you'll be and that's free, and you'll get more organic searches. Anybody else want to raise their hand? I think I think a topic always comes up, at least for me in my business right now, is I always look at my fees in December. I'm not here to tell you to raise your fees, but I'm certainly here to tell you to go investigate your neighborhood, do your fee calcs, figure out where you're at, figure out where you want to be, and now's a good time to start looking at first quarter budgets. Michael, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just, I'm glad you brought that up. So just kind of a quick question. How do you guys typically assess pricing? Because, we've been kind of winging it. We pretty much have the, 95% of our inspections here in Chicago are home inspections, for buyers. So we pretty much got that down. We pretty much just kind of base our prices off of how long is it going to take us and what would we lose out as a home inspection. Okay, it's going to take us 2 hours, and we kind of translate it to that. But you guys have like any general formula? Because again, we've just been kind of winging prices and throwing them out there and seeing what sticks.
Sure, Sam, you got your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Clear as mud.
All right. The CCPIA, they got a great training course that we use. It talks about the fees and how to set your standards up. We use that quite a bit. And lately for us, we had one commercial inspection about 3 months ago. And since then, we've been dead. We've got a major competitor down in Springfield, Missouri that has been undercutting us by $500. So on this last one, we kind of knew what the game plan was, so we kind of screwed them. We told them we'll do a family home for $1,000 and made them do it for $500. So, and then they realized they had an elevator, had all kinds of extra stuff inside the building that they weren't qualified to inspect, and they ended up upside down. So, but the training that they offer is a great tool, and actually has Excel sheets. And I use a call center to answer all my phone calls, and I give them that Excel sheet. It's like, hey, if it's outside this, call me. And they actually been getting quotes every day this week, but so far we haven't been able to close. So what I've recently just started doing is we looked up who's the #1 commercial real estate agent and the number 10 and pitted them against each other to start using them. So we finally got one of them on a contract starting January 1st, start using us for all of their transactions. So we're working on playing a little game, pitting the best versus the worst, and see who comes out on top. So that's my suggestion to you guys, is do that training. It's amazing. So
Thanks, Sam. Michael, I'm from Chicago as well, and I had in my suburb, I had a competitor that every time I put a proposal, he always, just like Sam said, he'd be $500 less than me. So I just got to the point that I didn't care about whatever he was charging. I would win the job on my sales techniques and not care about the undercutting, not care about the price. I was certified, CCPIA certified. I've done this for 34 years. I've got a team of, and there was no way that my sales proposition, and that's the whole key. What don't be price sensitive. Make your sales proposition be the thing that sells the job, not the price. Lance.
Hey, thanks. All right, so I would like to add one thing to that I have found is kind of the decision factor for my clients, and so it works for me. Because there's some individuals in my area that try to undercut me or bid way over because they don't know really how to understand the scope of the property. But I win everything with my conversation up front. So anytime I have an opportunity to talk to the client, I want to. I know Rob mentioned that the majority of us end up talking to the agent, but 99% of the time, I won't move forward until I've had a verbal conversation with the client to understand their needs and to get a scope of what I need to do for them. And then usually if they're like, yeah, we're just collecting prices, I'll try to discern if they've already collected prices from other people and then tell them my offerings to make sure that they're getting exactly what they need. Because sometimes it may just be a home inspector who is a commercial guy or someone in your instance who's undercutting you. And they're not actually giving them the full depth of information they need or to the extent in which you're willing to do. And then I usually win those just by that conversation. So, you know, anyone else here who's doing commercial, I would be interested to know, to piggyback off of this conversation, how many of you are only working with agents and how many of you get to speak to the client more? And it might just be a regional thing for me, but I would say almost 70% of my clients aren't even from the state of Oklahoma or surrounding states. They're from another area. So I don't know. I'd be interested to know what you guys think on that.
That's great question, Lance. I know in my recent history, I was way at that number. Between 70 and 80% of my clients, I talked to the client, not the broker, and built my business off the back of the client, not the broker. And the brokers that I know and got referrals from are because I got the high five from the client and they liked my services. And I played the long game. And that's how I thought the best way that I could get my value was from. Because if you're dealing with, unfortunately, the real estate broker, a lot of them can be semi-transactionally motivated versus service motivated. And that transactional motivator is the one that says, oh yeah, and their fees are. Wait a minute. How are you quoting my fees? You're not doing the work. So that's just my opinion. I see some head nods, but anybody else have an experience they want to share with that? Yes, Jamie.
Just a funny one real quick on that. I've been, well, let me back up. This is Jamie, the real estate inspection company in San Diego. We've been in business here almost 20 years this March, doing commercial all along the way, but next to none, less than 1%. We're at 5% now this year from 1% of gross revenue, thanks to CCPIA. And this month is shaping up pretty good. So I think most of what's coming in is directly to the client for us right now. But I've been going after the last couple of weeks, trying to build up agents and brokers in the commercial world. And I just wanted to share this real quick. I sent a sort of email messages and all this stuff. This one in particular was through LinkedIn. Said, hey, I'm the lead commercial inspector at the real estate inspection company specializing in commercial property inspections. We're CCPIA certified through professionals. Please contact me, et cetera, et cetera. His response was, will do. Are you the type of inspector that puts on the cavity search gloves, or do you give a fair general overview? Send me an email. So, pretty typical. I mean, 20 years we've been doing this, whether it's commercial or residential. A lot of realtors, California anyway, it's like a lot of them see us as just like a nuisance in the transaction. They prefer if we weren't even there. So he's basically asking, do you just do a quick run through and make a few comments, or are you actually thorough? So I'm thinking on this, came in last night, so I'm thinking on a response here to give the guy. And I think the answer there as well, it depends on the client. Some of our clients want the cavity search, and some don't. But anyway,
I think that's a great response. I think for all of us, that's why we like doing commercials so much, is every job is one-off, right? Every job involves the interview, and I am going to charge for my time, my effort, my liability, and my knowledge. And those four pillars right there are enough for me to figure out, how many pairs of gloves am I gloving up? Because if you're doing multifamily inspections in Chicago, we've been wearing gloves en masse long before it was popular. Anybody? So I did a building your business episode yesterday with one of our members, and that'll be posted online here towards the middle end of the month. And one of the topics that came up, which was pretty on point for this conversation, was extra offerings. There's always one of the best ways to make money in the inspection business is inspections per visit. Yeah, so if you're a manager of any company, you understand that ratio, because your time and your effort was your drive there, and certainly not, and that's your biggest expense. And so, is anybody doing any looking at for next year any additional offerings that they're either going to do in house or vend out, or are you thinking about getting some additional training to add to everything? We'll go Mike first.
Hey, Rob, thanks. I didn't have a comment on that. My question is what, and maybe you can just get to it after this comment, is what's being done to lobby states that don't allow commercial inspectors unless you are a general contractor or engineer, such as South Carolina. Our business covers South Carolina and Georgia, and South Carolina really put the hammer down on us a few years ago and cut out a bunch of our business. We were doing a lot of the mom and pop and multi-use facilities around our area. Can't do it anymore. And so are you guys having any impact or doing any lobbying to try and get some of the states to ease those requirements? And thank you for responding.
Oh, no problem, Mike. We have not yet. We're not in the position yet because of the what we'll call the certification hurdle that we're on. I would imagine that's probably on. Well, I'm pretty assured, because I know Nick's personality. I think that's going to be on the 2025 bandwagon, because we want to spend 2024 doing two things. We're going to build more membership, and then we've got our certification exam that we want to have much closer to psychometrically evaluated to be valid, and again, make it a good bar. As soon as you said state certification, I'm going, oh, don't let it be South Carolina. Don't let it be South Carolina, because in North America, that's the only one that has that hurdle. And if I was an entrepreneur working on the border or in South Carolina, I think I would do one of two things. I know I'd have to go get my contractor's license just to have, or I'd have somebody on staff that was a contractor's license, and then I would go to work. I'd go to town on that. I think Jamie, you had your hand up on that, or I know Lance has got his hand up.
Oh, just real quick. I think you were asking what training and all this stuff. I signed up for the February Cost to Cure. I think it's Boulder.
Yes.
And then the ADA. Just real quick on the ADA that came up earlier. We just locked in a job for next week to community center for a tribal reservation out here. Anyway, 10,000 roughly was the fee, like 9,800. And for the first time, I'm bringing in a sub who specializes in ADA. And out here in California, what they're doing, this company, the sub we brought in for the ADA, is a little beyond what is in the CCPIA standards or the ASTM standard anyway. His bid was 4,800 to do just the ADA stuff. This is like a 25,000 foot office building. And our inspection fee was, 4,800, including the sewer scope. So anyway, what classes and training, I got to get to taking the ADA class and start building that out to bring that in-house. So I'm looking forward to learning more ADA and Cost to Cure.
So Jamie, take the online course before you show up to that job, and then and then maybe, because I know you're a multi-inspector firm, either you or one of your lead people hang out with that vendor. Don't let them out of your sight. That 4,800 that they're charging you, that you're expensing onto this job, becomes an awesome tutorial on reinforcing everything. And so next time you don't hire them.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly the plan. Yep.
Good. Lance.
Yeah, I was going to speak to the contractor license commentary. While my state and the surrounding states don't require it, I got online and I took a certification, if you will, for contractors so I could have something behind my initials. But I also found it even more worthy of upselling my clients is I got my IBC building inspector license and my residential license. Well, I say license, just, the certification. And then also I just completed my NFPA Inspector 1. And so it's helped me a lot with municipalities and local governments when they see that I have those certifications. I'm not a fire marshal, nor am I a city inspector, but having those same credentials gives you one leg up against your competition. And it really puts the gap between you and like a home inspector trying to do commercial as well. I realized a year ago that if I don't determine what it takes to make me more professional, even if I don't know anymore, just having those initials behind my name has been massive in people looking us up online, finding our information, and then using that in my proposal. I'd say it 9 out of 10 times, unless it's an engineering firm who's coming in and taking over and doing extra services afterward. We've usually won just off of that. It was an arduous season going through all of it and taking it and sitting for it, but it's paid me back tenfold. So even if you don't have to get a contractor license, I would certainly urge people to get some of those extra things. And you're going to learn quite a bit along the way anyway, and it'll make you a better inspector. It's not just for licensing.
Yeah, the unfortunate, and you're right, Lance. And the unfortunate thing is the only state right now that has any covenances that even describe commercial inspections is South Carolina. And if you're in North Carolina, my conversation I had with the license bureau there was no, we don't regulate commercial inspections, but they darn well better have a home inspector's license too. So that's fairly ambiguous, but yet on the point to be scared. But I know a lot of inspectors are. Jamie had said it, doing commercial sewer scoping. They're doing commercial radon if that's a viability item in your state. They're doing the cost of cure aggregations. Some are starting to dabble in reserve studies. Some are able to provide core sampling on roofs. There's a lot of opportunity out there to make additional revenue or have additional billing line items on your inspection to make it more profitable, and or in Sam's case to make yourself invaluable to the client so that no matter what happens, they're going to say, I want you, because they can't do that. Or it just sounds like you're more savvy or more experienced in it. And that's where, again, I used my CCPIA membership and certification as my differentiator between me and those others that I'm trying to fight against. Boy, we got a quiet group on this December Tuesday. So Raul, please.
Can you elaborate on the cost to cure?
Sure. Sure, I'll start it, and then Lance, who's going to be our instructor for that class, I'll let him finish it. But cost to cure is an adjunct away from directly the ComSop. Within the ComSop, in section 8 of the ComSop, it says that cost to cure or cost aggregation or assigning costs to remedy are beyond the scope. But that doesn't necessarily mean you can't provide it. And that's assigning a cost to the repair of anything that you find. And so with that, Lance, I'll let you kind of introduce a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. I think the thing that's hard to comprehend, especially for a home inspector coming into commercial, is the cost to cure is such a foreign idea as a home inspector, right? Because you do your inspection and you wouldn't dare give any sort of cost to repair an item to anybody, because then it's going to be a whole litany of bad conversations with agents and sellers and everything else. And that's just not what we're there to do. But on commercial, I would say 90% of my clients, probably even more than that, come to me because one, they need someone who's knowledgeable in the building, but two, that building is an asset for them. It actually is an investment and they need it to make money. And if they can't make money with it, then their bottom line is screwed essentially. So it's your responsibility as you're building, or as you're working and building your inspection report to be able to take those defects based on what you have spoken to your client about. Like, for example, a daycare owner, anything that might be $300 or more might be something really big for them, right? That could be a big deal for their bottom line. Whereas if you're a big industrial owner, anything over 2,000 may be really all you care about. And so everything comes to how you're working with your client. But a cost to cure report, kind of like what Rob said, it's taking all that data you've aggregated in the field and putting it in a report that says, here are items that we feel are going to be the most detrimental to your bottom line, or things that you need to pay attention to now and over the next several years, and give some sort of cost to that. And if it can be within 20% either way, we think, you're probably doing the best for your client regarding that. And I think in our business, it's probably our number 1 and 2 upsell additional service that we provide our clients.
Yeah, it's I didn't get a lot of them when I was running my practice, but I got enough of them that I had to know what to do, how to do it, and be good at it. And that's really the key. And so now to give a shameless plug for the February class that's coming up, Lance is going to go over those items that are most common, how to determine the costs, how to calculate the costs, and then how to identify some of those issues so that you can create the appropriate cost. Anybody, and for those that are scared, and that's where things start to tighten up in your body about this. Know that your client doesn't expect you to be closer than 20% of accurate.
No.
So you don't have to go, oh crap. You don't have to be perfect. And so this becomes an opportunity again for some. You're gonna either attend a class or take an online session of this and go, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this in every job, and it's going to be included. And this is what I do, and I'm done. And for others, you're going to go, well, this is an ancillary service, and I'll add it to my bill. And if they want it, they'll pay for it. If they don't want it, they won't pay for it.
Right.
And it can go either way. And so that's where the benefit of thinking about this in a more rounded idea of offerings is beneficial.
Can I ask a question, Rob? Because I think when I started doing cost to cure, I started because people were asking me to do it. Because when I first listed my company online, I was immediately getting calls from national due diligence companies wanting to contract me to do inspections. And they all required a cost to cure alongside my report as a supplement. And so I figured out quickly what that even means and how to offer that type of service. Is anyone here working with any due diligence companies like an NV5 or there's a litany of them, but have they reached out to you based on finding you online and contracted you to do inspections?
I don't see a lot of head nodding, Lance.
No, but would love to learn more.
I know I can't be the anomaly. That's the only one that got called on them. I know the Pacific Northwest guys get called on them all the time, but I was just curious to see if anybody else picks up any of those just being found online. SEO is your biggest friend when it comes to starting your commercial company because most people do not know there are commercial inspectors, one, nor do they know how to find them. So other than that, I was just curious to know if anybody
Yeah,
ends up
being a
working with them.
vendor out there for some of these larger portfolio clearinghouses is like doing relocation inspections for a residential side. They're out there, you know, there's usually a flat fee. You don't get to really bid the work too much. You kind of get assigned and I'll pay you this. But it's a great way to build your personal portfolio of experiences so that you can tell a better story to your retail clients when they call. Now, Bob asked a question about what the average cost of care report would be. I'll give an answer, and then I'll let anybody else answer, or I'll let everybody else answer. I looked at every job, Bob, as how much work is it going to take me to complete it? So if I'm doing a small building, let's say 25,000 square foot, I might be adding another $500 to $600. If I'm doing a 30 to 70,000 square foot, I might add another $750 to $1,000. But if I'm doing a 500,000 square foot, then I might be $1,500 to $2,000. And that's everything is a swag. We all know what swag stands for. Scientific wild guess. I tell a story in our introduction to commercial inspections class, and I got a phone call from a client, and he's buying a 60,000 square foot, 90-year-old house of worship in the inner city of Chicago, as is, for $250,000. And he wants a cost to cure. Well, we don't have to do a lot of online looking to know that this building is going to have 7 levels of hell and challenge. And so my cost to cure was actually more expensive than my physical presence in the inspection because of that factor of the hell it was going to go through just to create that aggregation. So I think for me to answer your question is whatever's fair and whatever's just to the effort I got to put in. But I'll let anybody else talk about that too. Some head nods. Jamie's got a head nod. What's your Wade? What would you like to say?
So on the commercial side, is anybody using like these AI reports like repair price or anything? I know for my home side of things, I do use the repair pricer when people want cost estimates, and then I just send them my report and the repair prices are generated right from the report.
Repair Pricer does have a commercial arm.
Mm-hmm.
It can handle most of the larger items that are the most typical. Not as much as the minute, but it is a viable solution. It just takes 48 to 72 hours for them to get the report back to you. And so if you're plugging and chugging and need to get the report turned to your client quickly, then it probably is not an awesome solution, but it is a solution. The challenge I found with any of those products, it doesn't allow in their product your personal manipulation. So if you took their product and used it for your own benchmark, then you could turn their product around, place it into a simple Excel spreadsheet, and add your personal manipulation or additions or subtractions. And I'll tell you, it'll get you quick. I know Lance will talk about it in his class. For me, my best friend was you can't see it. I got a cell phone in my hand. It's asking Siri how much something costs.
Yep.
And Siri was free.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can, yes, I can attest to a lot of Google and then looking at Angie's list with a side eye going, that'll do for now. When I first got started.
Yeah.
No.
And every good one you do, you get to file that away and remember those numbers for next time. And calling friends. I was lucky enough. My brother's a builder, commercial builder, and I was doing a job in the inner city, and it was a 125-year-old masonry 5-story building with a cast iron steel fire escape that I wouldn't allow my cat to walk on. And I called my brother up. He says, "Oh, good news! I just put a fire escape on a building. It's $30,000 a story." Like, all right, that's all I need to know. Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, I've been relying a bit on calling contractors. So we refer a lot of business to contractors. In fact, in the software that we use on the home inspection side, we recommend specific contractors, and it shows us on there how many of our clients are reaching out to them. So we have like roofers, for example, who do residential and commercial. And so it's kind of cool when you like, hey, over the last 5 years, I've sent you over 1,000 leads. So I'm just calling, can you help me get a number on this commercial building? I don't know what I'm doing here. What's it cost to do the roof on this building? So I've been doing a little bit of that. Just one by one, but I'm starting to figure out that as this thing grows, that's going to be way too time consuming to call these contractors in for a favor one by one. So I got to start. That's why I'm doing the cost of care in February class with you guys. Got to start getting a little bit quicker at that, because can't burn a day or a half a day to attach some numbers to a $2,500 report we did.
Right, unless you're getting paid for it. And if you got a $2,500 inspection and then you add another $700 to the cost of cure.
Yeah, I might be way off in this because I'm learning it all, but the way I'm going at it is just repair estimates, cost of care, whatever we're calling it right now, is it's part of any commercial job we do. And the reason for that is that in the Southwest region, other inspectors out here I've talked to, other companies, and then a lot of the bids that are coming in against us, like it seems as though they're all just, hey, I want that PCA thing, and that's just included in it. Like the NV5 company that Lance brought up, they keep showing up here and there. There seems to be a lot of people in our area using them, and then we look at their reports, and that's just kind of standard, right? This PCA deal. So I thought, what the heck, we might as well just get used to repair estimates, cost of care with all of them, since it seems to be what everybody's doing out here. Or I've heard it said that 80% of people or clientele in this stuff, it's kind of what they expect that and want that. So I might as well do it.
Yep. Well, then I would encourage you to make sure that you do a competitive analysis of your market and make sure your fees are right on the money, so that you're not taking one on the chin. Raul, please.
All right, so for the ones that have commercial and residential, and you said that you either open up a new business or change the name, how do you guys work that? Are they two different entities, or there's one division under the other one?
Most will do a division under another one, just because it's easier in your taxes, it's easier in everything else. Your key is, Raul, your client doesn't want to hire a home inspector. If it's Rob's Home Inspections and there's a Google search, because the whole idea is you want to be able to be found. And so if it's Rob's Home Inspections, somebody's not going online and searching Rob's Home Inspections or Home Inspector to do that commercial building. You've instantly put up a firewall. So having a company name like Building Inspections, Property Inspections, Building Services, Property Services, things like that, well, then you've got a little bit more of a cross connection. Now, if you're dead set on never changing your name from what it was before, then create a DBA. Doing business as, make a whole nother website. What the internet doesn't like is it doesn't like stop words. What a stop word is and. So somebody's not gonna, and becomes a word that Google will see as, oh, I don't care about the next piece. And so if you go, you're not gonna search Rob and Lance. You're gonna search Rob Lance. Because as soon as there's an and there, then it comes up with all of these. But if you want to find all the projects that Rob and Lance were on, you put Rob Lance. And so Google's going to look at that and go, okay, I've got residential inspections and commercial. Well, residential is the most prominent. If all of a sudden you changed your Google listing to commercial and residential, which is what I did, then all of a sudden commercial becomes more prominent and you'll get more organic locations. I'd encourage you in our website, we've got a lot of articles available on SEO, on keywords, and on just how to create a really good, viable website and your name. Sam, please.
Well, what we did is we created another company, Missouri Commercial Inspectors Consultants. And we actually said on our main page, we partnered up with them, even though we created companies separate, and it works. And since we did that, we've been getting a lot of people. But on the commercial side, I also teamed up with a private investigator to help us out too, because a lot of our commercial guys that we've been dealing with, they want more information that we can't get from just talking to the manager. We got to talk to employees at the warehouses, because around my area, these warehouses down here get sold weekly. But I haven't been able to get my foot in the door till recently, till I brought a private investigator on board. And then we're getting more information about these buildings. So right now we're looking at trying to expand, be different from everybody else. But when we created that separate name, just another LLC, and say we partnered up with it, it worked out. And in taxes, we haven't had an issue with it yet. It's pretty much the same as doing home side.
Yeah. If you start a whole new company, then the way we ran several companies out of our entity, but what ends up happening tax wise is, how do you pay somebody, all that? Maybe you got to have a third company that's your payroll company that pays everybody. Why I have been fond of extra divisions is I can share every resource cleanly. I have one set of QuickBooks that shares all the resources in payroll and expenses, because that ream of paper I bought for the copy machine, whose is it? Is it the commercial's ream of paper, or is it the residential's ream of paper? And so it just makes the division was always easier for a knucklehead like me to wrap my arms around. But I'm not saying that the big benefit with a whole separate company is the separation of that company between the two. If one blows up and gets huge and you want to sell it, it becomes a very clean sell. And if one isn't doing well, it becomes a very clean separator. And so there's huge benefits either way. I would encourage you to each talk to your tax consultant and have them help you through that argillation. Raul,
One more.
please.
So, I saw your video about the roof inspection the other day, last week.
The white roof?
Or flat roof inspection you did?
Was it a white one?
It was white.
Yes, thank you.
So the package units, do you open the covers for the package units when you inspected those, or would you do that for an additional fee?
The only doors I opened on that roof were the ones that were missing. That was actually the House of Horrors 2 in Florida. And half of the RTUs when I got up there were missing their doors. So I wonder it was hot as Hades walking around the inside of that building. If you read the ComSop in section 6 and it talks about dismantling, no, I don't historically insert any tools, probes or otherwise into a screw for dismantling. If it's a modern RTU that doesn't require a tool, let's say it's just a handle, then sure, I will do that. But if you really read carefully the ComSop, and then we wrote a safety article earlier last year as well that talks about inspector safety. I don't do anything that I would expect beyond what a pedestrian would do. So if the building owner or building manager would be expected to go up on that roof to remove something, then I would do it. But if it only involves a handle, then yes. But if it involves inserting a screwdriver, then no. But that doesn't mean that or exclude the fact that you couldn't do it. There's certainly great value in it, but in the normal operational testing and following the ComSop, no, you're not required to remove the filter panel, the burner panel, or any other access panels on a rooftop unit. And if you do, you do. I'll applaud you, but that doesn't mean that that your inspection will be any better than mine, because at the end of the day, it's an operational test. If you read the ComSop carefully, it says, and report on any adverse conditions or operations that don't function. So testing the air conditioner would involve testing listening to it and verifying it makes cool, and testing the heat, listen to it, make sure it produces heat. Well, we've just hit the top of the hour. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Need more coffee in the morning.
Hey, Rob.
So,
Rob, I'll just throw out a quick thank you. I think I had sent you an email on a RFP on a tribal building. Anyway, we got it, and I'm excited. We've been putting a lot of energy into commercial this year, and to date, this will be the largest dollar amount commercial inspection that we've done. So thanks for all your help, and there's starting to be a little bit more excitement in my company, or a large company, a lot of employees outside of just the inspectors, and it's building momentum, and there's a little bit more excitement when you see higher dollar jobs booked and on the calendar. So anyway,
make sure, Jamie, thank you, and make sure you go in your meeting between the holidays with your boss and say, and for 2024 and beyond, I'd like to be bonused on all commercial revenue because of the efforts I'm putting in.
Well, I'll just throw out, if anyone out there is a multi-inspector firm, there actually is conversations of now that there's proof of concept and it's grown dramatically. I think we've done 4 times more commercial this year than last year. We are discussing actually a different compensation plan for the commercial inspectors. Yeah,
we did that. That was when I launched the commercial division in our company in 2016. That was the first thing I did. was change my comp plan for all of my commercial inspectors because I had a higher expectation for them. Kind of couple of shameless plugs. The next InterNACHI convention, the Pro Inspectors Convention, will be in October, and it's going to be in sunny Orlando. And once again, we are going to have the opportunity to produce and 6 sessions. While they're not all designed yet, I can tell you that one will be on building a multi-inspector commercial team. One will be on phase 1 and phase 2 inspections. And so we will definitely have opportunities. And I'm going to do one on multi-family inspections, and do a complete mock inspection of a multi-family building. So I know those are 3 of our 6 that we have. Oh, I forgot the other one. We have a nationally recognized thermal camera company. We all know their name, FLIR. Teledyne is sending one of their lead instructors to us and is going to go through all of the highlights of what a thermal camera inspection on a commercial building can provide, i.e., ancillary services and additional revenue for things like electrical inspections and other places that require thermal cameras to be used. And so those are 4 of the 6 sessions that will be there strictly for commercial. And so we're very much excited for next October to be able to produce that. So if you've not been to a Pro Inspectors Convention, it's interesting. And I had a note for that for myself. Nick said it best. Only about 3% of the inspection industry ever attends conventions, which is low for me, because this is my 34th year in this industry, and I don't think there's been more than 5 of those 34 years that I had not attended a national convention somewhere in the country, because I did it for myself and my knowledge base, because I just felt like I needed to always have my pulse on the industry. So if you've never been to one, consider coming to one. These conventions here are probably the least costly of all of them, because InterNACHI does not charge what other associations charge per head. So just something to consider. Raul, you had your hand up, please.
Yes, so I am not an InterNACHI member. I am a CCPIA member.
You bet.
So
still come.
But when I go to those conferences, because they're InterNACHIs, do I get the discount for being a member?
All you have to do, anytime you think, I'll say this to all you folk. Anytime you think you'd like to have a discount for anything, send an email to fastreply@ccpia.org. Look at Bob's nodding his head. You've done that before. These go straight to Nick and straight to our executive director and co-founder, Maggie. And I've never met a group of individuals that are more benevolent to their membership. I mean, if you participated yesterday in the Christmas-a-thon party, the holiday party that InterNACHI had, it was, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars of tools were given away. So just know, Raul, that CCPIA members will always be granted that discount. You just got to let them know when you register, and they'll make sure that you're covered. Well, terrific, gang. I really appreciate you being here. We're going to do our next one on Tuesday, January 9th. It's a week earlier than the rest of them. We've got five. There's 5 Tuesdays in January, and I'm going to be in Bryan, Texas, the following week at the CCPIA conference. We're presenting, and then I'm going to be in beautiful Fort Lauderdale the week after, teaching the introduction to commercial inspections. And so January 9th will be our next roundtable. Have a wonderful holiday. Thank you for being here, and be safe, and follow the ComStop and check your fees. Instead of do great inspections, like I always say, check your fees. Be safe, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.